lets you finance and buy a car anytime and anywhere you want. Browse and compare any car. Search for financing in minutes and choose the deal that's right for you. Auto Gravity. Getting a car has never been so easy.
Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. On today's show is a 3-game suspension for Urban Meyer, a sufficient punishment. Plus, USA Today columnist Jarrett Bell joins the show to discuss a growing list of concerns for the Cowboys. And could Kevin Durant team up with LeBron James down the road? We've got a packed show today. Skip Shannon, let's get to it. Last night, Ohio State suspended Urban Meyer for the first 3 games of the season after their investigation found he mishandled domestic abuse allegations against a former assistant coach. The school said that even though Urban did not condone or cover up the domestic abuse, he failed to take sufficient action. They also said he did not, quote, deliberately lie when asked about it at Big Ten Media Day. Athletic Director Gene Smith was also suspended. Let's take a listen to Urban Meyer yesterday.
I'm fully aware that I'm ultimately responsible for the situation that has harmed the university as a whole and our Department of Athletics and our football program. I want to apologize to Buckeye Nation. I followed my heart, not my head. I fell short in pursuing full information because at each juncture, I gave Zach Smith the benefit of the doubt. I did a poor job at Media Day. It's a big reason why we're here today. I was not being as complete, as accurate as I should have been at Media Day and afterward. But there is no intent to mislead. My role is to set a good example. In this instant, I did not live up to the university's standards. The suspensions are tough, but I fully accept them. I wish I could go back and make different decisions, but I can't. These difficult lessons are a constant reminder of the duties and obligations that I have as a member of this university and this community.
What message do you have for Courtney Smith?
Well, I have a message for everyone involved in this. I'm sorry that we're in this situation. And I'm just sorry we're in this situation.
Skip, was the punishment enough?
It was not nearly enough. And clearly, a majority of college football or basketball or whatever coaches would have been fired under the same circumstance. And what's most offensive is that if you study the punishment as it was doled out, Urban Meyer will miss the first game completely, but for the game 2 and game 3 weeks, he can coach the team and prepare the team. He just can't go stand on the sideline. But I'm going to suggest that he will be in touch with people in the press box, which will be relayed down to the field, and I think he will have strategic impact and input on games 2 and 3. So this is completely out of bounds to really just... It's not even a slap on the wrist. It's just a little tap on the wrist. That's all. So we found out from the investigation done by the Ohio State University that he blatantly lied, even though they said he didn't deliberately lie. I don't know how you can not deliberately lie when you stand in front of the media, Big Ten Media Day, and say, I know nothing about any of this 2015 or 2009. You know nothing about it? How can somebody create a story like this? Because this happened, that happened, and that happened. And we know for a fact that he had his director of football operations show him how to delete text messages on his phone from more than a year back. So those were all gone when they did the investigation. And we know for a fact that only recently Urban Meyer signed a new contract that included language that required him to divulge to Ohio State's compliance department anything that he would know about anything involving any sort of domestic violence or sexual assault. So, he didn't do any of that. He kept that all to himself, and Gene Smith oversaw that, although I give Gene Smith this. He did send a text message to Urban ahead of Big Ten Media Day saying, if you're asked about what we know about 2015 and 2009, you need to go ahead and come clean with it. And he deliberately... He lied. He just lied. And he ignored the order of his superior, Gene Smith, to go ahead and divulge at Big Ten Media Day. So, in the big picture of this, Urban Meyer has only 2 legs to stand on. And again, you and I went back and forth on this earlier, but there is the fact that remains that Zach Smith was never convicted of any sort of domestic violence. He was arrested for, but he was never convicted of. And in the investigation, Urban Meyer and his wife, Shelley, testified to the investigators that they doubt the credibility and veracity of the accuser, Zach Smith's wife, which we hear again and again. I'm very open about that. We hear again and again this victim shaming, but we've been through it before, and I don't know what to believe about that, but that's what they testified. And I believe that testimony, coupled with the fact that he was never convicted, that was just the loophole through which Ohio State was able to slip and say, well, we'll just tap him on the wrist.
That was the loophole they wanted to slip.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Skip. We have to be very, very cautious of this, because a lot of these domestic violence and sexual assault cases are never prosecuted. There is no conviction. But there's a lot of people that have lost their jobs with no convictions. We've seen this Me Too. There's a lot of people that's unemployed currently with no convictions. There's a lot of people with domestic violence on their resume that doesn't have a job with no convictions. So I don't know if that's the standard that we're going to use. Unless there's a conviction, there is no, we absolve everybody. I don't know if I really want to go there. I get everybody should have their due process, but there's so much going on here. After Zach Smith was fired, there in this report, it says 7:35, Shelley Meyer conveyed, and he texted Coach Myers, I'm worried about Zach Smith. He drinks a lot, and I'm just not sure how stable he'll be. Skip, I'm afraid he'll do something dangerous. It's obvious he has an anger and rage issues already. Okay. Now, you believe the guy is unstable. You believe that he has drinking and rage issues, but you don't believe what Courtney Smith is telling you about what he's done. That's what you said. You just conveyed that. You said he has issues. Yep. He drinks. He has rage. But she's lying. Wow. You see, Skip, this is how it works. And we know this. If I like you, Jenny, if somebody tells me something about you, I'm not going to believe it because I like you. I don't believe Jenny would do. Nah, not the Jenny I know. But if I don't, yeah, I believe it. That sounds like something.
And again, to your point, the mentor of Urban Meyer was one Earl Bruce, former head coach, no longer with us, but a former head coach at the Ohio State University. And as Urban grew up under him, he had a grandson named Zach Smith. So Zach Smith became somewhat like a son to Urban Meyer. Right. So did he look the other way? Well, he admits he did. He said, I let my heart overrule my head.
It's called paying it forward. Someone gives you an opportunity, someone in that family, what do, Skip? If you get an opportunity, you pay it forward. You give him the same opportunity somebody gave you. But the thing is, for him to lie, to say he has no knowledge, and just blatantly lying in 2018, we just have a hard time of just saying, man, you lied. That's a lie. I forget exactly how the Orwellian quote goes, Skip. They said, repetitions of a lie that goes uncorrected gets chronicled as the truth.
I think that happens down through history a lot.
Yes. So, Urban, this is not he didn't intend to lie, he misspoke. He flat out lied. He knew what the reporter was asking him to be true. He said he knew nothing when he knew everything. And then, you made it. Where do you guys make these stories up at? Make it up. And then to pretend like nothing happened. I don't know how Gene Smith, the athletic director, kept his job. I still don't know.
He got suspended, but he didn't lose his job.
Man,
Two scandals.
I mean, a quarterback, a guy can get 4 games for selling sneakers. And a head coach that's making got a $35 million, $40 million contract, Skip.
$7 million a year. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Is that where we are? We're going to punish the kid for selling some shoes, 4 games, and a guy that's making $7 million a year lied and covered it up. Repeatedly lied and covered it up. And had an opportunity. There were several opportunities because he could have did the right thing. He had so many opportunities. So many. To say, you know what, Zach? I love you like a son, but I got to let you go.
Well, so he could have shown some contrition at last night's press session.
That made it worse.
It did not help, but I guess he's thinking in his head, I can't show contrition because it'll show some guilt on my part. And I don't think I'm guilty. And clearly, as he was forced to read this statement that he didn't write, he's just monotoning the words. He didn't believe a word that he was reading.
Apologize to Buckeye Nation first. The first name out of his mouth should have been Courtney Smith. Courtney, I let you down. I am so sorry.
Yep.
But like you said, I'm sure his attorney probably said, look, whatever you do, you admit nothing. So I'm pretty sure you stick with it because, you know, there might be some lawsuit or coming down the pipeline, and we don't want you to be a part of any of that. But man, and the president, boy, Urban, good thing you're a great coach, bro. Because if you were a 500 coach,
he'd be gone.
You'd be looking for it.
Because it would be a stain on the university, and they'd say we can't survive this one. We've got to let him go. But when you're 73-8 as the head coach at Ohio State, you've won 2 Big Ten championships and a national championship,
and your favorite again,
your favorite again. They're going to do everything in their power to keep you, because in the end, they can.
Yeah.
They're not.
There's no federal law that says you have right. There's no federal law that says you have to let him go.
Yeah. I don't know Title IX law well enough, but I think there could be a violation here just because he did not disclose,
right,
which he should have.
So, which is a fireable offense?
That's by the letter of the law of his contract. That's fireable.
I don't know, Skip. You know, but he might have signed that contract because you know he has memory issues.
And that's the other thing. Glad you brought that up, because they brought up in the report that Coach Meyer takes medicine that can hurt his memory on occasion. Really? Well, then how can he be the head coach at Ohio State?
That's not a good look, Skip. I don't know if I'd have said that. I would have left that out. I would have left that out, Skip.
The medication, you would have not said that? Or
yeah, I would have left that medication part out because it makes it look worse. Here's a guy, you got a guy running one of the top 3 programs in all the country, and you got him and he has memory issues? Really?
So then what else is he missing in that sense? It's not good either. I hadn't thought about it that way. There are layers to this, and you know, it doesn't get better the more we talk about it. It leaves you with a
I agree with that. The more you talk, the worse it sounds.
Yeah.
It does, and the more we're reading about the investigation, and it's far from over.
Y'all got to do a better job. If you guys were called as many times as it says that you were called, what's going on?
And where Ohio State is at risk is going forward as Urban Meyer goes back out on the recruiting trail. What do moms and dads think of Urban Meyer's ethics and character now? Maybe not a lot.
It has to be.
Leonardo. Open Google Play Store. Music. What's the weather in New York?
It's 62 degrees and partly cloudy in New York City.
Well, the Cowboys have not gotten a lot of good news this preseason on the offensive line. Zach Martin injured his knee, and Travis Frederick is out with an autoimmune disease. They also have a group of unproven receivers after losing Jason Witten and Des Bryant. On the defensive side, they have a young and inexperienced secondary and reportedly had a chance to trade for Earl Thomas, but chose not to do so. We're joined now by NFL columnist for the USA Today, Jarrett Bell, and we're so glad to
Quick
have you.
thought here. I've known Jarrett Bell since our days together way back when at the Dallas Times Herald. And Jarrett Bell is an NFL authority. We appreciate you being here.
Okay, you have raised the
I've raised the bar.
I like that, though. I'm okay with that.
Well, since we do want to get your take on this, if the Cowboys are in trouble.
Well, you think about it this way. Every team in the NFL has some sort of adversity they're going to have to deal with at some point in the season. Now, we'll see if it gets any worse. You just can't predict these things. But remember, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl last year with a backup quarterback. The Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl last year without All-Pro left tackle Jason Peters.
That's true.
Darren Sproles, Hicks, the linebacker Brandon Hicks. So you have to deal with these things. That's the challenge right now for the Cowboys. But it doesn't look good right now. Remember when Tyron Smith got hurt last year and they gave up like 6 sacks to one guy? Exactly. So that's what the Cowboys really have to be concerned about, is whether or not all of their best laid plans. You got Zeke back. He's being a good citizen. You've got Dak back. 3 years in the system. Exactly. So you've got all these things lined up. Oh, by the way, you mentioned the receiver, so that's going to be something they're going to have to develop. But, over and all, it's like, hey, this is the NFL. You've got to put out fires. That's part of the job.
And when you were at Cowboy camp, what level of optimism did you sense?
Oh, I thought that they felt like at that time, and this is before the offensive line injuries, obviously, the first week or so of camp, they felt like everything was in place. The receiver situation was the big question back then, and how you develop that, without Des Bryant and Jason Witten, obviously. But, you can do so much when you have Ezekiel Elliott, and you've got them running behind that offensive line. And there was a lot of talk back then at the start of camp about how they were going to incorporate Ezekiel Elliott in the passing game. I mean, then you put him out in space. I remember that one play at Pittsburgh a couple years ago, and he takes a little dump-off pass and goes like,
Sprinkle 80.
yeah, exactly. So they can envision that. So, the Cowboys have been kind of funny when it comes to the consistency thing. They're up 1 year, they're down 1 year, they're up another year, they're down another year. And this is supposed to be the year they're supposed to be up, right?
Yep,
so we'll see.
It'll be very interesting. They can ill afford to lose these two guys. Zach Martin, it looks like he will probably be back. I doubt he'll play anymore in the preseason with a hyper extended knee. The more uncertain is Travis Frederick dealing with the autoimmune deficiency disease that he's dealing with. But if you lose those two guys and the lack of playmakers that they already are insufficient on offense, as you mentioned, there's no tight end that puts fear in you. There's no receiver that puts fear in you. You need to run the football with Zeke and then play action off of it, and maybe you're going to get some one-on-one coverage because they got to drop that guy down in the box to stop the run. Skip, they got really 3 playmakers on this entire team. Sean Lee, DeMarcus Lawrence, who I like to see a bigger body of work, and Zeke. That's it. Now, you lose those 2 offensive linemen, and I know Rod Smart did some good things filling in. But Rod Smith. But if you lose those 2 guys, it's hard for me to imagine that they're going to be able to run the football as effectively as without them. I just don't see it, Skip. I just can't see a situation you lose 2 of the top 5 or 6 offensive linemen in all of football, and you're going to be able to do exactly what you wanted to do offensively. I just don't see a scenario with that happening. And when they had their most success in 2016, ball control, they controlled the clock, and they kept their defense off the field. And when they hit the field, they were fresh and they could get after you. They play a lot of snaps. They're going to get worn down.
So you're telling me that no defensive coordinator in the National Football League fears Blake Jarwin? That's their new tight end, Blake Jarwin.
No.
No. That's my new tight end, Blake Jarwin.
That's your guy.
Yeah.
What happened to your other guy? I thought you liked Rico. You was telling me about Rico. No, you was telling me all of Rico.
Watching. I think they're just missing the boat on
basketball guy.
He's a big basketball guy. He's 6 feet 6 inches.
Yeah, you saw him. How'd he look? I've been watching him ever since he came off the basketball court at Baylor for a couple years now, and have always been like the Cowboys, I'm sure, intrigued by his potential in the end zone. Okay, you're 6 foot 6.
Yeah, throw it to him.
Yeah, you do that. But here's the problem: the guy hasn't played much football, and in terms of not only being able to recognize coverages on the fly as you're playing and just really instinctively. And Shannon, you being a tight end, know as well as anybody. But talk about this for a second, Mr. Sharp, Mr. Hall of Famer. The skill of blocking for a tight end, even if you're not quote unquote a big time blocking tight end, how difficult is it?
Well, it seems to me that Jerry's saying he can block once he knows who to block. The thing for him is that when people move around, it's like he freezes, and that's the thing. Tell your coach told me, he said, son, block the guy head up, inside out, most dangerous man. That's what you go with that situation. And see, I guess that from reading what Jerry said, as long as the guy doesn't move or the defense is stationary, he's good, Skip. But no defense is going to stay stationary. That's the whole thing, is to move around and cause confusion. So he's going to have to pick up those things. There's nothing like playing football. He's a basketball guy that doesn't have a whole lot of football plays up under his belt. So
I am here to predict that one Joe Looney is the Nick Foles of backup center. He's going to come in and he's going to make the Pro Bowl. It's Joe Looney. I don't think so.
Well, here, let me give you a little silver lining in the half full, half empty equation here when it comes to him. Of all the Cowboys' backup linemen, right? We know how good their front line is.
Pretty good.
Yeah, he's like the best of the backups.
I know, but Nick Foles of the backup centers, I don't know.
I would go that far.
You can't say that, but maybe you're talking about a guy who is in his 7th year. He's been around. He started 13 games. He's had a lot of reps with the first team, and he's had to fill in here and there. So it's not like you're relying on just the garbage man.
Jared Bell, I need you to explain one thing to me. There is one game-saving, game-changing, Shannon Sharp wrecking move that Jerry Jones could make. And it's on a silver platter. It is screaming to be made. Please do this deal. It is Earl Thomas. It is please do it, because Earl Thomas obviously is from Texas, went to the University of Texas, and would love to end his career with the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys do have cap space to sign Earl Thomas, because it would take a lot of cap space, but they got it. And they do have next year's second-round pick, and by all reports, by all accounts, it would take only year 2 to get Earl Thomas. Now, would Seattle be foolish to do that deal, as Tony Dungy said? Not to me they would, but if they would do that, it would be game over. It would rectify the situation of losing a Travis Frederick for maybe the whole year, because the odds are telling me that he's going to be gone for the year with this autoimmune. At least half the year, and even if he comes back, you're still fighting weakness, and he won't be a Pro Bowl center. So this is the move that changes everything, because if you add Earl Thomas to the locker room, what happens in the locker room next time? We got Earl Thomas, man.
Yeah.
Does it kind of tick off some of the kid safeties they got? I don't care. But because Earl Thomas comes in and becomes the quarterback of the defense. Well, why wouldn't you do this? Why is Jerry resting on his Hall of Fame laurels? Because that's what he's doing. He used to be the ultimate NFL plunger. This is Charles Haley all over again. And by the way, in 1992, on August the 27th, Jerry Jones pulled off a trade for Charles Haley, and what did it do? It won the Super Bowl for Dallas. That's what he was, the catalyst to a Super Bowl defense that was a year away from being ready to go win a Super Bowl, and they did. So it's not too late. August 27th, we're not quite there yet, right?
That's the day, August 27th. And they got Chris Richard, who was in Seattle, defensive coordinator, running the defense that Earl Thomas knows. They did bring in a safety this week, Jaron Johnson.
Jaron Johnson.
Jaron, okay.
Yeah. They got him from Seattle because he was coaching high school football in Seattle.
And gave him number 29.
Yeah.
They thought they got Earl Thomas. They said, they play like Earl Thomas.
We'll fool some people. But here's the deal. You said it, Skip. Jerry Jones used to be primed to make a move like this right then, right now. I think this kind of reflects what's kind of happened with the Cowboys in recent years in terms of Stephen Jones having more of the sway in the front office with Will McClay at his side. And Jerry has kind of, allowed them to do more of this. At least that's the sense I get. You talk to Jerry, and, he'll tell you he's involved in all of the decisions, which I'm sure he is, and they run things by him. But
the Cowboys have operated with a lot more caution. I mean, we're talking about Travis Frederick.
Caution and Cowboys in the same.
Think about it. I mean,
Zach Martin or Johnny Manziel.
right? That works. Yeah. So that kind of underscores, the philosophy here. So I think there's some of that here, but at some point, you've got to make the move that can help you do it. And like you said, you've got the capital to do it from a trade standpoint, to give up the second round pick. The money, we've seen safeties always devalued in terms of the draft and the money, but when you're talking about the best safety perhaps in the NFL, one of the top 2 or 3, then there's a case to be made for striking a deal that gets it done. And when you feel like you are this close to getting back and having to close the gap on the Eagles, which is not going to be easy on a lot of levels. We talk about the offensive line. Just think about the matchups against Philadelphia and who's going to block Fletcher Cox and Tim Jernigan. Shoot, week 1.
Bennett, they got Haloti Nada.
Don't forget the guy who knocked
Brandon
the ball
Graham.
out of Brady's hand.
So you talk about the matchup. So, you do need something if you're the Cowboys to really kind of swing the
NFC is loaded this year. The NFL, the NFC with Green Bay and New Orleans and the Rams and Minnesota, this is not going to be easy. They have their work cut out for them. And if you're down two offensive linemen, 2 of the top 5 or 6, 7 offensive linemen, at worst case scenario, Zach Martin is the number 1 right guard. Travis Frederick is by worst case scenario the 3rd. If you like Jason Kelsey, Alex McMillan at center,
I'll buy that.
So you got 2, a top guard, the top 3 center, and you're going to be without 2 of those guys. Get Earl Thomas. It makes DeMarcus Lawrence job
Everything feels better.
Everything. You got to have that guy, because I think the secondary is the weak link of the Dallas Cowboys defense.
Yeah, and yet Jerry Jones the other day dared to say that this defense has as much talent as any I've ever been around. What? And with the Dion is where? Haley and Darren Woodson is where?
Oh my goodness!
Remember they had Tolbert, they had Russell Mallon, they had Casillas, they had Leon Lett.
And sometimes it's just better not saying anything.
Especially that team won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's hard to quantify. How do you get better than winning the Super Bowl?
And when you start talking about best and never and stuff like that, gotta have some restraint. So you gotta have the kind of restraint in the messages, just like you've had the restraint on dealing for Earl Thomas, and you need to kind of flip that, right?
Flip it. Yeah. Do it, Jerry. Now.
Time is out. 2 weeks exactly from the beginning of the season.
Jared asked me that I have an actual storefront restaurant. I don't, but I will be serving 2 along with my W's and L's in my restaurant this year.
Are you going to buy it from me?
No.
You owe me 11 cases.
Well, I would be down to 6.
Oh, down to 6? How are you going to do that?
Because the Cowboys not making playoffs.
We do this every day, just so you know.
Not making playoffs.
Yeah, I've caught the restaurant references, and I'm like, wait a minute, where is this?
Is it possible to save someone's life from thousands of miles away? Yes. Thanks to the dedicated technicians of the American Red Cross, who worked with VMware to develop technologies to help redirect the flow of blood to people needing it most.
We're glad you're here. Support for Undisputed comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Let's talk about buying a home. It can be one of the most important purchases you'll ever make. But today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher payments, which can turn a great experience into an anxious one. That's why Quicken Loans created their exclusive power buying process. Here's how it works. They check your income, assets, and credit to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer, making your offer more attractive to sellers. Once verified, you qualify for their exclusive Rate Shield approval. They'll lock your interest rate for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. Then, once you've found the one, if rates have gone up, your rate stays the same. But if rates have gone down, you get to keep that new lower rate. Either way, you win. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/undisputed. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data records. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. The Patriots made an already thin group of receivers even thinner yesterday by releasing veteran Kenny Britt. He's the third receiver New England has let go since the start of training camp. Tom Brady has been working with a new cast of characters after losing Danny Amendola, Malcolm Mitchell, and Jordan Matthews. Britt's release led many to connect the dots to Dez Bryant, but NFL Network reported the Patriots have, quote, probably no interest in Dez. Shannon, should the Patriots have any interest in Dez?
I think they should explore it. I think they should do their due diligence, and I'm sure they will. Coach Belichick does not look at outside pressure and say, well, this guy can't do this, he can't. They'll do their homework, they'll do their evaluation, and Coach Belichick will come to the conclusion, can this guy help us? And if he comes in here, can he conform to the Patriot way? Can he come in here, do his job without causing disruption? That's what Coach Belichick looks at, because we thought there's no way he and Corey Dillon's going to make it a day. There's no way he and Randy Moss are going to make it a week. And arguably they had the greatest statistical season in NFL history with Randy Moss, and they won a Super Bowl with Corey Dillon. So clearly he knows how to handle combustible personalities. The question is that you trade Brandon Cooks, you cut Malcolm Mitchell, you cut Jordan Matthews, you just cut Kenny Britt. You're going to be the first 4 games without Julian Edelman. Okay, that leaves you with Eric Decker, that leaves you with Hogan. They drafted this young kid, but he's a rookie. You have Gronk. Outside of that, Skip, the thing that's concerning with me, Dez has basically been the X receiver lining up on the left side of the football
every time.
He doesn't play. He's not a move guy. I don't know this for certain, but it looks to me when I watch them play, it looks like Hogan could play Amendola slot. Amendola can play Hogan slot, who could then play Edelman slot, who could then play wherever. Question is, how fast could you get Dez up to speed where he could do all these things? That's the question, Skip. It's not easy when you haven't been a guy that's played multiple positions and all they've done was allow you to learn one position. The thing for us, Skip, when I played in Denver, I had to know what Rob Smith had to do, who was X. I had to know what Ed had to do, who was Z, what the zebra position had to do. I was the Y. But we had to know just in case somebody get nicked. Yeah, they had backups, but Mike felt comfortable if somebody got nicked in the starters that unless it was like, say, Willie Green or someone that was proven, he felt more comfortable moving myself or Ed or Rod to one of those positions and play. So the question is, Dez having only played X receiver, lining up and not moving basically his entire career, how soon could he get caught up to speed? Because what we've heard is that the Patriots have a very, very complicated playbook. And you play in Tom Brady. Hey, and one thing that what got Tom Brady upset last week, they called him to punt the ball in the crowd, Skip. They were dropping passes. If you don't mind me asking, in 2017, who dropped the most passes in NFL? Okay. I don't know if it's a great match. Dropping the ball, putting the ball on the dirt, and not being able to play multiple positions. It doesn't seem like a match made in heaven to me.
So, you know how I now feel about Bill Belichick when it comes to Tom Brady? If he decides that Dez Bryant can in no way help Tom Brady, he'll sign him. He'll sign him.
Only you would come to that kind of realization and rationalization.
And I think I'm right about that. But, back to your premise. Corey Dillon had some baggage when Bill Belichick took a shot with him.
Yeah.
But was Corey Dillon in the middle of his prime? Yes, he was. You could say he was later in his prime, but he was still in his prime.
Yeah.
Was Randy Moss still in his prime?
Yeah,
yes, he was. He had his best season ever, 2007. Chad Ochocinco. Now, Chad Johnson, my friend, our friend here on the show, he still had something left in the tank when Bill brought him in. And it was very different because Bill knew Chad.
Right.
Bill had worked out other players where Chad had been at workouts at the LA Coliseum here, and Chad can run all day. And Chad's got a big heart and loves to play football. He never ran the most precise routes in Cincinnati because he could mostly just run by people, as you know, and let TJ Houshmandzadeh run all the underneath stuff. And it took Chad a long time to get on Tom Brady's wavelength. But Tom loved him, and finally they got him one ball in the Super Bowl. Remember that? Okay. But it didn't really work out. But all the players with baggage, Albert Hainsworth, LeGarrette Blount, Keith Talib, Brandon Browner, I could go on and on, they all could still play, right? I'm not sure Dez can still play. I'm not sure what's left. I saw broken down last year. I saw shell of self. And to your point, I saw a guy who had lost a little bit of speed and a little bit of quickness, and just couldn't separate anymore because he can't out route you. You know, like he was never forced. He was always so much better than everybody, so much bigger and stronger, high point the ball, jump volume. That he never had to rely on supreme route running to escape, right, to get open. Well, last year he did, and he couldn't do it because he's never had to do it before.
Right.
Well, with this quarterback, you have to be on a dime.
Right.
You got to be exactly where you're supposed to be, exactly when you're supposed to be there. And
there's no ad-libbing.
There's no ad-libbing. This would be, to me, I couldn't pick a receiver that would be a worse fit for Tom Brady than Des Bryant at this stage of his career.
Right.
Maybe if Tom got him in his first year or two, you could figure it out.
Right.
But now, really?
Because the thing that let's just say when Chad was in, Ocho Cinco was in Cincinnati,
Yep.
he was with Carson Palmer. They might have an outbreaking route. But the way, if the DB lined up outside, Chad would run in breaking, and Carson would know that.
He would just know.
Right. But that's not how most offenses are. If you're supposed to go outside, you run the outside right.
I agree. And Chad was as great a deep threat for those couple of years as you will ever see.
And he can run the route tree. Chad was tremendous. He run that speed out where you 10 roll to 12 and fall off the table. His end cut. I mean, he was nimble on his feet. Dez is not a tap guy.
Yeah.
So it's not a good fit, Skip, to my eye. But Coach Belichick, what he does is that he can see things that from the outside we may not see.
Maybe.
So what I believe Coach Belichick would do is due diligence. They will look at it. They'll come to a conclusion. Either he can or he can't, and they'll move on. My bigger concern for Dez, how's his confidence? We're getting ready to start.
Very good.
Yeah, we're getting ready to start the season.
Yeah, and to your point, you got to learn this in what? In practices? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And the thing is, when you they try to force feed it to you, and then you get brain overload, and then you feel like, what is that? Tom Brady, listen, when Tom Brady come out the huddle, he's not really trying to tell you, it's going to be this coverage and this is what you need to do. Tom Brady needs to know everybody knows what they're supposed to do and get to where they're supposed to get to. No, I got enough on my plate. You're not worried about what you do. You know what you need to do.
So it has come to this for Des Bryant. Look how desperate New England appears to be, in part because Bill Belichick keeps making bizarre decisions, but he traded Brandon Cooks. Was he not Tom Brady's most reliable deep threat, his only deep threat last year? So he got a first back for him. That works. But the Rams immediately gave Brandon Cooks 5 years at $80 million with $50 million guaranteed. What does that tell you the Rams thought of Brandon Cooks? Thank you very much, Bill, right? And then the Patriots acquire my guy, Jordan Matthews from Vanderbilt University. It's the all-time leading receiver, catches, and yards in the Southeastern Conference. And I think, okay, this will work. He's a good kid, big heart. He's sort of like Chad, loves to play football, hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he couldn't really stay healthy, but gone. Malcolm Mitchell had a good Super Bowl against Atlanta. Looked like he had some game to him, and he couldn't quite stay healthy, and he's gone. And Kenny Britt, I thought he had something left in the tank, and he's a big, strong receiver. Couldn't stay healthy, gone. Julian Edelman, gone for the first 4 games.
Right.
So it's down to Chris Hogan and Philip Dorsett. I'm not sure about whether he's ever going to figure it out.
They do have Cordarrelle Patterson.
Okay, and he's a kick returner who might moonlight a little bit as a receiver, but just moonlight. And your guy from Denver, Eric Decker, who's bounced around now and has been battered, and he can't catch consistently. And so you would think this would be the perfect landing place for Des Bryant, and I would bet against this. I just think there's no way.
What this tells me, Skip, that Coach Belichick is not going to let you suck up his air conditioning and get his ice bath if you're not going to be able to contribute. These guys were nicked, and Coach Belichick says you're not going to get healthy on my time and not be able to contribute, or be able to contribute in a timely manner. Coach Belichick ain't got time to be waiting for a guy to get ready by week 6, week 7. I need you to start the season. And it doesn't look, and if Coach Belichick looks at it like this, and I've always felt this, if you limp into the season, you limp out the season. And here are guys that are nicked up in camp, Skip. They can't get on the same. Tom needs time, and Tom hadn't played with any of these guys, so he needs to work, and he can't get it.
So what do I always tell you about Tom Brady? I believe that for the season opener, a half hour before kickoff, you could walk up into the 5th or 6th row and say, you three guys from Southie, you three, just come down here. I'm going to show you how to play receiver, and I'm going to go win this game with you three from Southie. That's what I think.
I think Aaron Rodgers could do that because he would know how to talk to guys. Aaron Rodgers know how to talk. He's like, look, guys, this is what we're going to do. I want you to line up here.
Yeah, because he would talk their language a little better than Tom Brady, wherever he's from, right? From San Francisco.
Yeah. But he's a Bostonite now. He's been in Boston.
He has.
Growing up.
So I want to remind everybody, despite all of this going on with the lack of receivers,
you want to sign this?
The New England Patriots are still the favorite to win it all.
Do you
know why that is? Because they still have the best quarterback. Simple.
Do you want them to sign? Do you want them
to
sign Dez?
I do not. Absolutely not.
That's a shame.
No, I do not.
They're going to have to find help somewhere. If he picked you out of the crowd, you think you could get the job done?
I'd be good. I can run all day. I can tell you that. I can run all day.
First of all, at the pace you're going, they're going to need you to speed that up.
I run 6:30s. I can still do 6:30.
Man, the first time you burst, you're going to pull a hamstring.
I don't know about that.
If you had to run that pace, I know you can run distance. You probably run for an hour straight.
I'll run more than that.
It's about more my style. Oh.
You don't realize what a difference they make until you realize what a difference they make. The all-new Ram 1500. Why more people are switching to Ram than ever before.
Well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2018 Ram 1500 for $129 a month.
Oh, more than that. Okay, I did set you up for that one. So we're a bunch of angry Minnesotans, and I know a few of those people. Yesterday, after newly signed Viking safety George Iloka was wearing Adrian Peterson's number 28 jersey at practice. It looked weird. Iloka said he's not planning on wearing Peterson's number, and quote, I just think that was the only number available, so they just threw me in it. I'm so glad we have Eric Dickerson here with us.
That was the only number available.
Only number.
Only number.
Is it disrespectful?
The Rams should throw somebody into that 29 someday, right?
If you tell them I wish they might.
No, is it disrespectful in your opinion, Eric?
You know what? I would say yes and no because look, football goes on, with or without you. But a player like Adrian Peterson, to me, would be a first ballot Hall of Famer for the Minnesota Vikings. No matter how it ended, he's the guy. When you look at 28, you'll always think of Adrian Peterson wearing number 28, not George, whatever his name. Nothing against him, but nothing against him. I can tell you, matter of fact, I think in 1993 they put a guy in my jersey by the name of Dexter Davis, and he was a defensive back. Yeah, I think he made a Pro Bowl, but I think I was still playing. Yeah, and it was odd, but my friend Todd Light told me a story. He said, Eric, I got a story to tell you. He said 1991, when I got drafted to the Rams, he said, Mr. Hewitt came to me with numbers thrown away, so he gave me number 29. I looked at it, I said, I can't wear this number. He said, why? He said, it's Eric Dickerson's number. He said, but Eric Dickerson he said, I'm not wearing this number, so I can't wear this number. So that's how he became number 41.
And Todd Light was a good player.
And Todd Light was a good player. Yeah. So it's just certain numbers that you don't wear. Like I look at Ricky Jackson. I'm gonna take Ricky Jackson, my friend, if I'm the Saints. Now, Ricky's the only Hall of Famer for the New Orleans Saints. They have never retired his number. Matter of fact, they have a guy wearing his number now. I think it's Okafor, and he got drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. He's wearing his number. I think that is really disrespectful. This is your only Hall of Fame guy, and you're having somewhere wear his number. So most definitely, I don't feel like anyone should ever wear Adrian Peterson's number. I mean, he's iconic. He's number 20, and I think, like I said, he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer when he retires from football. Yeah, it's the preseason. Who cares? Give him 50. Give him exactly. Skip, you're the preseason. When I played the preseason, they gave me number 1. I thought it was cool, Skip, because in high school I was 3, in college I was 2. I was like, oh, I'm number 1 in the NFL. It didn't dawn on me that they give guys that they're gonna cut, they give bullshit numbers. It didn't dawn on me till later. You're like, whoa! So y'all basically saying y'all can take this number and get me up out of here. George, take any number.
Okay, just for the record, George Iloka has been a 6-year starter for the Bengals. He's a I'm not gonna say He's just a
He's
good player. He's a good
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, he's a good
Yeah.
player.
All right.
But Adrian Peterson, you're going to make a case. Okay, who's the best all-time Viking? Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss, Alan Page, Fran Targeter, Chris Carter, Randy Moss. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And George Iloka ain't going to ever be thought of as a Minnesota Viking or an all-time great Minnesota Viking. But I get it. For me, if I'm George Iloka, like 28, I ain't finna win that.
I think he figured that out.
Yeah, after they show him and he got 28 on the practice.
Huh?
They're like, that ain't me. No. And you try to stay away from that. You go to a team, think about it, Skip. You go to New England. You think I'm going to let them put somebody at 12? What? What? I don't want 87 either. If I'm a tight end, y'all, 87, you better get that number away from me.
There's been a bunch of 84s in Denver, though, haven't there?
Yeah, they have. You know what?
That's a good point. Ooh.
You know what? I need to talk to Joe Ellis about that.
You should.
They be putting their stuff of everybody. Dude dropping the ball, making it look bad.
All right, before I go, Jenny Taft, as a longtime Vikings fan, were you offended by this?
Yes, it looked weird. I had so many friends actually say, "Can you please get Skip and Shannon to weigh in on this? This is not right." It's AP. It's just there are too many memories, and they shouldn't be taken away.
Okay. Were those same fans down on Adrian in 2014 when he got suspended for almost the whole season for, as you know, he pleaded no contest to misdemeanor reckless assault when he hit his 4-year-old kid. We can go into whether you can love it or not love it or whatever. You can agree or disagree, but I think there were those in Minneapolis and the surrounding areas who did not love what Adrian did.
Yeah,
sure.
Right?
All over. That wasn't just
Sure. Okay. So it felt like from a distance it did not end that well for Adrian in Minnesota because he had an option for one more year at $18 million and he was not living up to that contract at that point. So the Vikings said, thanks, but no thanks. And he said, I want to go explore. They said, you can go explore. You can shop yourself on the market and see what you can get. And obviously, as great backs often do, they all do, as you well know, he overestimated his market value at this stage of his career.
Correct.
And he wound up taking, I think it was a grand total of $3.5 million to play for Minnesota. For New Orleans last year. And now he's playing for $1.05 million to try to make the roster of the Washington Redskins. So he overestimated what he had left. And we had Chris Carter on the show, obviously, all through last year saying he should have just said, I'll take whatever you'll give me to finish here in Minnesota, right?
I believe they would have given him at least what New Orleans gave him.
Something
and the bare minimum they give him
like that. Could he have swallowed that much pride to take it? Because if he had, I don't think they would be handing out 28 to Ilokins, because if he was retiring as a Viking, maybe it'd be last year or maybe this year, maybe it'd be one last hurrah as almost the backup running back, then the sun would set correctly on Adrian in Minneapolis, like it would be a feel-good end to the story, like it should be for every great player.
I agree. Okay. I agree with that. I mean, Joe Montana, he didn't retire.
No, he did not.
He retired at 49.
Okay.
Still, no one wore 16.
No.
And you're right. I mean, I think
you didn't retire.
And I didn't retire. I didn't retire with the Los Angeles Rams.
Jerry played with other
Emmett Smith. He went to Arizona. So,
but it didn't seem to end badly for those guys wherever they were. It's that there was still a feel goodness to it. Like
it kind of ended bad.
It wasn't It was not a feel good story with you when I left the Rams. I mean, no, that was not a feel. That was.
You got traded in the middle of '88, right? '87.
And did I? Oh, I was mad. I mean, because I really didn't want to leave, and it was all over $1 million basically. I'm making $250. I wanted $1 million. I mean, and that. One thing is, when you're young, and they people, younger still. When you're young, you look at things different. When you get older, you say, yeah, maybe I should have. Maybe should have went this way. I mean, because you have more insight, you have more wisdom. But you're right.
Do you regret that you went to Indy?
You know what? I don't regret it. I don't regret because it changed the pay scale for running backs. The thing I did, it really did, because backs were getting reamed. We wasn't getting close to the money quarterbacks were getting. And I said I wanted money like a quarterback, or close to it. And what I got quarterback money. And all of a sudden the pay scale changed. And I didn't know this. A general manager told me, he said, Eric, you probably don't know this, but they have a rule called the Dickerson rule.
that no one can make more than you at running back. I'm like, wow. So like for a couple of years, I had that rule in place.
Okay, but you earned it. You lived up to it.
I earned it. But Adrian Peterson, he earned it. He earned what he earned. But I think it comes a time where you look at your career, all of us do, and you think you're that same guy. You really do think you're that same. You can run like, but you aren't that same guy anymore. I mean, and it's hard to admit it because I do. I'm like, okay, I'm fast, but I'm not as fast as I used to be. I'm quick, but I'm not as quick as I used to be. And I admit it to myself. And it comes to a point where you say, I have to make a decision. You're right. It would have been a great decision if he would have stayed in Minnesota. I think the Vikings would have welcomed that.
Yeah, I just want to know why they keep giving out 84 in Denver. I need to talk to John.
I got you.
And I need to talk to John. 84 need to be 84, 30, 65.
John, as in Elway?
Elway, yeah.
He would take your call. I don't think he would.
Yeah, he would take.
What? Who's calling?
Yeah, he's shouting at me. I'm probably in his phone is Sharpie.
Sharpie?
Yeah.
Hope he's listening.
Yeah.
Can I bring up one more thing?
Yeah.
We just talking about it. You probably wasn't here. Me and my man, they're talking about getting this race
again.
I got to get this race. Come on. People have been talking about it. We've been tweeting about it.
Who's talking about? Like two people on Twitter?
More than two. My back is good. My back.
He had the Hall of Fame talking about
I got it in the Hall of Fame.
Seriously?
Yeah. I want to race him.
I'm up there trying to have a good time. I don't get out much.
I want to race him.
Skip, I don't get out much. I'm sitting there, me and his boy Ricky Jack.
Can we make this happen?
Can we make
I'd love to be there.
Can we make this happen? I'm ready.
60.
If I'm 60, if I'm 80, I'd run you.
Sit down, ED.
If I'm 80, I'd run you.
You gonna have to see.
I'm telling you.
You'll be attraction.
Come on, Shannon.
Hamstring pop.
Will you be there, Skip?
Come on now.
I'll run you.
Come on, Shannon.
I don't think I'm ever going to see this because I think one of these parties will not participate.
You know which one it is.
I'm saving mine for the pay-per-view or Jason Witt.
That I would pay to watch that.
Oh, okay.
Can you outrun Jason Witt? Oh, yeah. Oh, no way. Come on, Shannon.
Right now?
You know what? I would give you a shot at that one. Just a shot.
Try to win it. You don't try to win it.
Really? I mean, Jason Witt, look how cut up shit. You can tell he cut under. I can't lift it, but I can outrun it.
No, I get you. I ain't gonna let no 60-year-old outrun me.
I'm not 60, man.
Shannon.
57. Right.
Shannon.
Yeah.
You got no shot.
I get it. A 57-year-old? I need to retire for real.
Let's make.
Every year, over 10 million people have their identity stolen. Take control of your identity with ID Shield. ID Shield monitors your personal information, such as your social security number, credit and debit card numbers, and social media accounts. We watch across the internet, including black market websites, government databases, and court records. We even provide child monitoring and monthly credit score tracking, which you can track right on the ID Shield mobile app. If any discrepancies with your identity are found, you'll receive an alert. If your identity's been stolen, a dedicated team of licensed private investigators are there at the touch of a button, 24/7 to restore your identity. ID Shield also provides a password manager, so you can generate and store strong passwords to further shield yourself from identity theft. And ID Shield even has a $5 million service guarantee, which means if identity theft happens, we'll do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to restore your identity. Shield yourself and your family from identity theft and put a licensed private investigator in the palm of your hand with ID Shield.
Make this happen, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you bringing that up. This week we saw Kevin Durant and LeBron playing some pickup basketball here in LA, but rumors of them joining forces with the Lakers may have been put to rest by Warriors beat writer Mark Medina, who told Yahoo, quote, "I'm willing to make a bet on Kevin Durant. I don't see him going to the Lakers whatsoever. And I think the reason has to do with LeBron. They have a good relationship, but LeBron's the guy he wants to compete with for championships and legacy." Shannon, do you agree with that?
No, I don't think you can rule it out. I don't think anybody saw Kevin Durant joining a 73-8 Golden State Warriors team who has Steph Curry, who won 2 MVPs after Kevin Durant won his. I would think Kevin Durant viewed Steph Curry as a peer, as a rival of his. He was competing. OKC was competing with Golden State. So I don't think it's out of the realm. I mean,
no one thought, like I said, no one thought KD was going to Golden State, especially after being up 3-1, especially after Golden State was 73-8, and they had a 2-time league MVP. So to say what Kevin Durant will or won't do, I don't think we can say that about KD.
You better not rule this out or you're in big trouble.
We're not in trouble, KD.
Big trouble. This is highly amusing to me because now LeBron James' legacy hinges on Kevin Durant.
LeBron's legacy
hinges on Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant will determine whether LeBron James sinks or swims with the Lakers.
Really?
Because this year they're going to sink. Because they're no contender this year. Even you don't think
third or fourth seed.
They're not contending for the title.
What did Ron tell you about it? Whatever the seed may be?
I don't care what he told me. I know what my eyes tell me. My eyes say they are not.
You haven't seen them play yet.
I already know what's going to happen. Not much will happen.
Okay.
So now, LeBron in his 17th year, remember, next year, the year after this one, will be his 17th season. So only one man could make him a contender. Only one. And it's not Kawhi Leonard. It's not Kyrie Irving. It's not whoever who's on the market, Jimmy Butler. It's one man. Nope. It's one man, and it's Kevin Durant. You know that. It's only Kevin Durant. So to the question and the point, I do disagree with the beat writer's take on this because Kevin is his own guy, and he is prone to do some weird stuff. He'll shock the world. He'll go to Golden State.
Right.
Well, why wouldn't he? Again, I agree with the premise of he's competing with LeBron for legacy. Well, why wouldn't he say, "Gee, I just won my third straight championship in Golden State," if in fact they do this year? And he could say, "Gee, I was the Finals MVP for a third straight year," which I think he's got a real shot at being. Why wouldn't I then go save LeBron's legacy? Because that would actually enhance my legacy. I won 3 straight championships in Golden State, and I was the Finals MVP 3 straight times. Then I went to LA, and I saved LeBron. Well, that would be great. What a great cap to a career.
It would be great.
It would be great.
Only you think, first of all, how do you save a man's legacy that has 4 regular season MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs? He's won more Player of the Weeks and Player of the Month than any other player in NBA history. And he's going to be the all-time leading scorer in NBA history.
He's 3-6 in the finals. 3-6. So how many times did he get to eat at your restaurant? Only 3. 6 nights. 6 times.
He came,
6 times he came and knocked on the door and said, "We can't let you in."
Everybody don't get to come to my restaurant. Everybody can't eat there because it's an unknown location.
Can you imagine LeBron James being stuck out on the street in front of Shannon's restaurant, calling Uber, saying, "Can you come get me because I can't get in"?
Oh, he's coming in 4 times a night.
He's not 3-6, but he could be 4-6 if Kevin Durant said, "Hey, I'll save you."
I got a sneaking suspicion that when it's all said and done, LeBron will be 6-6.
6-6, and how's that going to happen? That means he's going to win 3 championships in LA.
3.
So which years? He's not going to win in year 16. So you're talking about year 17, 18, and 19 of his career?
Soon as KD and Kawhi arrive.
Oh, KD and Kawhi. I think only KD, because Kawhi is, he'll quit on you.
No, don't do that, Skip. Don't do that. Don't do that. The man was injured.
He was injured.
They say he looked good out there at UCLA, though.
Oh, they didn't say that.
That's what I heard.
I heard he got hurt.
That's what I heard.
An insider there?
Yeah.
Let's go over there, Skip. It's right down the street from me. We just shoot over there and watch.
Killing you because you know in your heart of hearts that there's only one move to be made here for LeBron James. It's to get Kevin Durant. And I was told by a source very close to Kevin that LeBron did check in with him this year because he was free. He was a free agent.
We kicked the tires on a lot of things. We kicked the tires on Paul George. We kicked the tires on.
And I was also told that Kevin is open to listening next year, depending on what happens. What will the Lakers look like with LeBron? What will it play like? What will it feel like? Well, you don't know that.
I do.
It could be a disaster.
No,
what will DeMarcus Cousins work or not work in Golden State? I don't know. I mean, will they fall apart because DeMarcus Cousins can't find a play?
That sure look nice.
Yeah.
KD and LeBron together, that sure look nice. I think we deserve that. This is what the people want to see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we need to see this.
Some people they could start making a case that KD's the GOAT.
Oh,
I mean, they could.
Okay. I'm not saying that you're right. There might be a possibility somewhere down the
I keep putting him in positions where he can fight back and take shots at Kevin Durant. He will not do it because he knows.
I mean, down the line, there might be some time to give consideration for Kevin Durant being the GOAT.
He keeps doing that right before we end a conversation. Throw out something. He doesn't have time to respond.
Perfect.
Thanks as always for listening to the Undisputed podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
5, 4, 1.